Okay, good morning to all. So, I am Professor Avinash Dadij. I am the Director of Manipal Law School, Bangalore campus, Mahe. Today, we are going to have a very interesting discussion and panel talk about the education and technology. I think it was almost in like 12th century when the modern universities were taking shape in Italy and Spain, and there was a lot of debate and discussion in continental Europe that whether this new type of universities will survive or not. I'm talking about the 12th and 13th century before the Oxford and Cambridge and all these Sorbonne. So it was a like continental world, and people had apprehension that this new technology, in their word technology was that these normal people like the normal academician, how they are going to train people, how they are training to students, because that time till that time education was considered as a religious practice and only religious leaders used to teach. But then a new change came that now a professor who is not having any religious training, he can also teach, he can teach law, he can teach philosophy, and we can see that they survived, not only survived, but I think we are all the product of that modern education. So today we are almost in that situation again in 21st century 2023. The introduction of ChatGPT 4, which I believe is quite interesting technology, because ChatGPT got an American bar exam. That's very tough exam. To qualify as a lawyer in America, you have to qualify in one exam. So the ChatGPT got 10%, and within 4 months, ChatGPT 4 got 90%. So I think this is the way technology is evolving. Whether it's good or bad, it's necessary or not necessary, how it's going to change human life, because education is part of human life, and no doubt it's going to change. So first I will ask Nivedita.
Yes.
So what according to you are the key challenges in higher education space that could be translated to opportunities with technology?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I work with education customers across India. North and East is where I primarily focus. And according to my experience, the conversations which we've had, especially in the government spaces, the access to education, right? What do we do for the last mile? I remember implementing Teams overnight. Teams was implemented like between Friday and Sunday to get it up and running and have students work on it. We work with tribal schools to actually print out the material and then send it to them, because they don't even have access to internet or electricity. So Teams is of no use in those areas. So that access to education is something which has become of prime importance. We are working with AICTE, we are working with CBSE, we are working with multiple governments like government of Andhra Pradesh, in skilling students who cannot afford that kind of tuition or access to university or access to Udemy and upgrades of the world, which are of course again expensive. Skilling students in the range of 1.2 1.5 lakh in only the state of Andhra Pradesh. And we are having similar conversations with AICTE for other skilling initiatives as well. So that's one piece of it, where access, and I understand everybody's got, Microsoft narrative of team, I would say is a little different from what universities feel, and I understand and appreciate that. I have a 3-year-old. I can't ever imagine her sitting. She's going to nursery now in April, and if that teacher says, "Oh, it's raining heavily," she'll attend the class on Teams. I'm like, that's not happening. She cannot sit in front of Teams. So the 3-year-old can't sit. I'm sure until at least 7, 8-year-old students, they can't sit, and they lose out a lot on their education and basic skills which should have been imparted on. Now, what can we do about it? There, of course, are tools. Wherever internet is available, there are tools within Microsoft ecosystem and around it which can help educate basic skills like mathematics, English, for accessibility if somebody is struggling with respect to a particular subject. So these are all the features and functionality which are already available in Microsoft ecosystem, and these tools come at no cost for the university except implementation. So that's something which can be explored. and I'm not saying that Google doesn't have or any other provider doesn't have. They also have whichever technology you feel is relevant for your university. You can explore those.
So thank you very much. I think now we can start our panel discussion, but without any doubt, it looks an amazing panel. Very diverse background from law, from engineering, from physics, from administration to senior leadership. So I think it's going to be very exciting panel. So the first question will go to Professor Goswami, Professor Sarkar, and Professor Das. Yeah. So the first question is: there is more and more use of emerging technologies like AI, ML, VR, AR, blockchain in education. So could you share your experience with these technologies and their potential impact on teaching and learning? So like here we are more focused on your experiences of these technologies with vis-a-vis to impact on teaching and research. As a leader, you must have seen that in the last 3 years, like 5 years, 10 years, these technologies are impacting our learning curve. So what is your experience?
Yes, sir, I got your question. So what we have discussed and what we are discussing is that the biggest transformation ever occurred in the education sector was substantial changes to technology. Now the educational sectors are incorporating emerging technology as we mentioned about AI, VR, big data, and the behaving technology. So similar others are that are making a difference in the higher education process. The list is expanding every day. Now, in order to leverage the most of it, the business sector, as we were pointing out, must know the importance of technology in the education sector. Without much ado, let's dig deeper into which are the most emerging technologies and see their advancement. Now, if you can talk about, as we are talking about the AI and ML. Now, AI and ML have the potential to revolutionize the education. They can be used to create personalized learning experience for students, automate administrative tasks, and provide real-time feedback to both students and teachers. Now, if I can take an example, AI could be used to analyze student data to identify areas where individual students may need more support and provide targeted resources. Now, if we talk about the virtual augmented reality, it can help students explore and visualize complex concepts in more immersive and engaging way. Now, VR and AR can be used to simulate situation environments that may not be possible to safely experience in real life. It can also provide a more interactive way for students to explore history or science through your simulations and the games. Now, the search results suggest that some of the ethical considerations also that will come later. Now, if I can talk about that, I say gamification. There is another gamification in engineering education. Now, gamification has the potential to use certain aspects of engineering education, such as learning outcomes or student engagement. We are nowadays talking about much of this. A few studies suggest that a gamified approach can be effective in improving the failure rate and average grade of students. However, there are also, if you can talk about the point number one, there are also some studies that have indicated the negative or unexpected effects of gamification on learning outcomes. Some studies have shown that the impact of gamification is influenced by factors such as the specific game design, the context in which the implemented, and the characteristics of the learners. Overall, it can be concluded that gamification can have both positive and negative effects on engineering education, and its effectiveness may vary depending on several factors. Now, further research is needed to determine the best practice for using gamification in engineering education and the condition under which it can be most effective. So, this is my view.
Thank you.
So, as I feel that technology is for mankind, that was a very repeated piece we can remember. We have gone for West Bengal government's English book in our secondary level. But technology is for mankind. Mankind exactly not for technology. So the thing is, what I would like to share that what my experiences in academics, that the technologies has come, they are actually boosting our process, our lecturing process, teaching learning got improved, as I have seen. Because I can remember that one of the faculty who was actually busy in teaching with chalk and talk, allowing some PPT and other things. when that person from biotechnology, when he or she is teaching EVS, and when he is showing the actual scenario through AR VR in Antarctica, what exactly is happening, showing some historical effects through AR VR. Otherwise also when the results are coming out, when we are placing that result into a DigiLocker, through blockchain enabled technology. So actually those are adding values to the entire process, teaching and process. And as we have already talked about ChatGPT along with that has come, based on that perspective also I would like to share that in spite of that, we have the different levels in Bloom's taxonomy, and if you can go for that, we have actually going to adapt this, that the upper levels, what is a creation level or application oriented or might be analysis level or evaluation level, if you can frame over questions in terms of assignments, in terms of normal tests. So ultimately we will be in a position to understand that whether a text or a content that is generated from those very edutech things or that has come up from a user problem. So that is the thing. Along with this, just one point to be noted, that there are some tools like K-Newton is one tool you might have heard of. Dreambox is one of the tools. Those are basically the platforms which are actually, digital platforms. Those are facilitating the learning process. So we are going to adapt all those things so that the process of teaching and learning becomes in good stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Anirban and Professor Goswami. And Professor Avinash, thank you very much because let me say that the longest lasting brands are all educational brands. Right? And we can date back to even 10 years, more than 20 years. No business brand, corporate brands can be reached beyond 50 years, right? So that shows that the educational ecosystem inherently has that ability and that power and capacity to change, to adapt. Right? And we have gone through so many transformations. The recent past, traditionally we have been driving on those linear paths. Suddenly we had this trajectory. There was this turn we are supposed to take and we have to take, otherwise we hit the data. In the process, we all know from physics, Professor Lahiri, that there has to be reasonable banking in that curve so that we don't fall. Why we take the sudden turn? And many of us, we take the sudden turn and learn a lot about banking. That we need to ensure that probably we are safe while we are supposed to go to our destinations. Now, talking about this experience, digital solutions, of course, they have impacted the way we think, we act, we react, interact. But then the question is that is there an existential threat for the teachers or the learners? Now, from the learner's perspective, the threats are probably minimal. From the teacher's perspective, the threats are more. What Professor Lahiri was talking about, Professor tends to speak a lot. But now the threat is that you have a multi-level expertise coming from digital sources. So how again to learn to adapt and as a learner, because the teachers now have to be in the shoes of the learner because they are more welcoming to digital solutions. So best is as a teacher, we can mix our identity, merge it with the learner, become a continuous learner. One of the questions which probably I want to put it to Microsoft is here presenting a tech industry is, what is this Web3? Gavin Wood in 2014, he did a remarkable job, and 2021 we have been getting a lot. I think it will be time if educational systems can really understand what is Web3 and how we can create this decentralized ecosystem, digital ecosystems. Means what? Individually, me as a professor, I can have my own kind of a web. I can be my own industry. So what happens to the monopolistic so-called brands? That's again something which probably is a challenge, is an opportunity, something probably we need to understand and to do a bit of a kind of a recce and be part of this process so that after 2-3 years, when Web3 becomes actually a reality, probably we are better prepared. Right? Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we started with very high volume discussion here about the existence of the universities. There is some research says that by 2050, most of the universities will not survive. And it looks like very impossible, but it's very very much possible. You remember that there were some institutions of typists where people used to go for learning type. I think most of the institutions are gone. So the universities, especially from engineering and management, I think 60 to 70% students are in universities are from management and engineering. So what if tomorrow Infosys and TCS says that we don't need BTech? Okay, we are okay with any 12th pass graduate who can pass our exam, just like Google, Facebook and Microsoft they are doing in US. You don't need a degree to get a job in Google in US. You just go and pass an exam and you can get a job. So suppose tomorrow TCS and Infosys and all these big companies where they are taking the mass recruitment, if they say no, we don't need a BTech, anybody can come and pass our exam and it's done. What will happen to education institutions? I think 60 to 70% might collapse because they're especially the private sector. Because their ecosystem, their revenue model is absolutely depending on engineering and management. What happens if they say, I don't need an MBA? You just come and pass an exam and you can get a job. I asked my friends in these big companies that still why are you taking this BTech? They said, yeah, this is requirement in abroad, when they go for a project. Then we need to show that how many BTech we have. Okay, still they value BTech. So in future, if the international clients say, we don't need a BTech, it's not relevant for us. You just give us this project, you deliver it, that's all. And automatically these companies will change their mind. So they say, no, we don't need a BTech. So BITS Pilani, they are running one BTech online program with SCL that is absolutely not allowed under the AICTE or UGC, but they don't care. The point is that this education system is going to change very fast. And these technologies, I think they are like boom or boom, we really don't know right now. But if we professors understand this question that yes, it can change dramatically, I think we can prepare our institutions for future. Because if I talk about the next 5-10 years, these big companies can say anytime we don't need an MBA. So then why universities exist? So with this question, I will go with the Professor Sanjay Pawar, Professor Chakravarti and Professor Lahiri. What are the key challenges involved in implementing emerging technologies for higher education? So, and how can educators overcome them?
As far as the digital technology implementation in education, it's not only education sector, also now I'm working on digital transformation with some kind of industry people. The mindset, first important thing is the mindset. That this digital transformation is required. Mindset among the teachers, mindsets among the organizations, mindsets among the students also. That this will help us. And assuming that this will help us and adapting to that is first thing. Second thing is how much and what is available to me. Am I knowing all the things whatever are available? Just compare the system with our system as you are giving an example of online systems that are happening. Now every day also we have a lot of courses coming from Harvard universities, maybe other US universities. They are open to all people actually and with the excellent content. So those are some of the things again which is challenging to our system also. So we also need to adapt as fast as possible also with respect to the other part of the world. Or else if we lag behind again, then everything will be lagging behind as well. Third thing is what I feel is again is the sharing of resources. Many times we have observed that replication of the work done, replication of the same thing work that has been done as well. So rather than that, if we can share some kind of resources available, things that are available so that add-on things are being put into that so that the extra work is being done rather than replication of the work. Because we have a lot, what advantage we have is a lot many people are there. So if we consider the contribution of individual and exclusiveness, the things will be improved as well. Third thing is again, a lot of things are being available. Maybe, for example, there are virtual labs which we consider. I think Microsoft also offers some of them as well. And some of them are also being prepared by universities also. So, but the utilization of those things are not there. If you consider the percentage utilization, it's very, very less. So, why it is not there? Among the awareness is not there. The things which is already available, the effect or benefits of those things are not there. Probably that is missing, and if by some means this advertisement and its benefits are being shown, probably that effectiveness will come into picture as well. Last thing which I feel again is in the new era, as AR VR things comes into picture, we require a lot of content generation. Content generation are presently probably on our books and hard books and so on. But when we move from the text to images and videos and animation, still this thing, lot of things have to be done as well. And this can be done with the help of universities itself as well as the faculties also. And that could generate. So adapting to this technology and this thought process would make a change. That's what I feel is as a challenge.
I have just listed few points so that time is not wasted. Being an administrator, running administration, I have noted down few points. Probably, I don't know whether we are a country who doesn't have any education technology policy. I don't know if it has or not, probably not. Our IT Act is of 2000 till date, no IT or Cyber Act. Why this is required, this education technology policy? Because of teachers, policymakers, administrators, and as well as the master trainers. Because until and unless you have the policy, you cannot do that. As you all know, that whenever in case of mobile communication, whenever you go from 1G to 2G, 2G to 3G, now 5G. Government normally publishes the white paper, but in this case we do not have anything. I am talking from my experience in Jalapur University. Professor Chakraborty may be knowing that they started a school of education technology long back in the early 90s, and luminaries like Professor Piyush Shah, Professor Tapun Ghoshal, who are very renowned scientists, they were associated with this. The school is still there. They are running courses like coursework engineering, multimedia technology, etc., etc. But I don't think whether any industry or government ever looked at them, what they are doing, what they are producing. So apathy is everywhere. Now on the outer circle, there are few things like resources, accessibility, devices, connectivity, etc. Now we can expand it, but I am not going into it. But the main challenges is digital divide and inequities. Then let me come to the point, the teaching with technology. Now I found one word that you have used the word educator. So I thought a lot, why did not you use the word teacher? Why did you use the word educator? I thought a lot. Then I found that the people who will be sitting today, all are born in previous century. So all of us are immigrants in this century. Obviously, those who are teachers, they require a technician to become an educator. Because all these technologies are for this generation to which we do not belong. So in that sense, the term educator is quite appropriate. My suggestion is that I believe one saying of Buddha, he told that everything in this world you can buy, excepting one, that is time. Time you cannot buy. So this is the time where technology-based learning has come. So we need to adopt that. How to adopt it? All should come together and take this development forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Professor Sanjay and Professor Patho has made my job very easy because they have already spoken all the things. So the basic issue here is that means how we do a transformation from the physical space to a digital space. Okay, this is the main thought process, right? So physical space is already built up. Okay, that means in university and in colleges they were already there. Now when we migrate to the digital space, there are some challenges, right? But we are very hopeful both in terms of management, right, and technology, we will be able to overcome. So what are the challenges? The challenges in digital technology, main is the infrastructure. We have to recreate the infrastructure in the digital world, right? And the infrastructure has a variable component which depends on the cost. Based on the infrastructure, we will try to develop our content, right? If my infrastructure supports a storage size of X TB, right, I can deploy some amount of content. If my infrastructure supports cloud, right, which is a paid service, so my infrastructure is 24/7 or my infrastructure is 7/8, right? All these things are to be taken care of, right, at some decision point. Next comes that how the interaction with infrastructure will work, right? Then comes the knowledge, right? That means whether my faculties, whether my researchers, whether my technical staff is capable to use this infrastructure. And we know there is a knowledge gap, right, which exists. For that, there should be lot of training activity needs to be done. So a lot of handholding needs to be done, okay, from the corporate as well as from the institutional side, right? There are some people in the institutes who can do that also. The last one is the last mile, which is our students, right? Which is actually the entire thing is for our students. The students have a large variability, right? In terms of their location, in terms of the language barrier, and just to make the thing that the quality of higher education is the most thing, right? If we have the quality in the higher education, our institute will survive. If we cannot maintain our quality in higher education, the institute will not survive, right? So the major issue is that all these digital infrastructure challenges should actually generate, should have matrices. I was working with some of the companies that how we define matrices of quality education in digital platform. At one point of time, we have to come up with those thought ideas because then only the institutes can actually generate those matrices. So all our evaluation at the present point of time is still on physical performance. If you see all our national level acquisition programs, our national level programs, these are all still physical performance. So once we have the digital performance of this education, how we generate the quality parameters, how the institutes can think on those parameters, I think that time is also coming up and that we need to start.
Thank you, Professor. I can see that clearly there is like little bit, resistance from the top to bottom about these technologies. So let's move to the next question with Professor Roy, Professor Chakraborty. So, sir, how do you think AI-driven technology like ChatGPT 4 can enable personalized learning experience for students? The question is very important. That where do you see ChatGPT and student learning? Like, is it going in right way, wrong way, or how can we use ChatGPT in learning process? So, Professor Roy and Professor Chakraborty.
Yes, ChatGPT is roaming everywhere on the internet, and the thing is that it is not just like a search engine like others, and it is based on totally different technology. As you know that it is based on the high-end application of machine learning, natural language processing with fine-tuning of reinforcement learning and supervised learning. So as per my knowledge, it will obviously enhance the personalized experience of a student because there is an uproar of AI nowadays, and student can create code, stories, games, etc. everywhere. Now, it can detect, the advantage of ChatGPT is that it can detect the intention and the emotion of the user. So what I can say that we can take it as a collaborator now. Now, teacher can enhance their assignment with the help of ChatGPT, and student can get support from the ChatGPT. And I think at within a very near future, it is not coming in our life. It will take time because it is a stranger, and we should give some time the people to assimilate it. So we must wait and wait for the ChatGPT to launch and wait for some time, and people automatically accept it in near future. Thank you.
Basically, ChatGPT offers demand support, facilitates communication, collaboration, as Madam has said, with teachers and peers. Teachers can create interactive learning modules, that's very important, tailored to the specific needs and preferences of the individual students. ChatGPT can analyze the learning styles and provide customized recommendations and feedback so that the students can learn at their own pace, so self-paced learning. Next is the students can get instant on-demand support. As I said, teachers can communicate with the students, They can answer in real time. The teachers can use ChatGPT for creating games, quiz, simulations, etc. Real-time feedback for the students to identify their weak areas and improve the performance. Very important is the customized language learning. You can do the learning in your own language and access for that. Advanced tool for online assessment and evaluation. ChatGPT can analyze large volumes of student data and generate automated reports on their performances. So, summing up, ChatGPT actually enhances the student engagement, improves the learning outcome, and create dynamic learning experiences. And it's here that ChatGPT to sustain in the long run.
Thank you, Professor. I really appreciate your optimist view on ChatGPT. So, sir, next question to Professor Dilip Shah and Dr. Rakesh Kumar Singh and Dr. Sajal Saha. In the context of technology-driven learning becoming increasing very common, what are the ways in which blended learning can promote educational equity? I think that's very interesting question.
Should I start?
We are talking about equity here. So how these technologies can bring equity in higher education system?
First of all, I think thank you for organizing this. I mean, if I talk about myself, I'm a learner, and most of the time the students are teaching me that, sir, this is how you do this. So that is how I am learning, and I think that we've got to adopt this whole idea that we are learners first, and the students may teach us, we might teach them certain other things. So that is one form of blended learning also, that they teach us and we also teach them. In fact, they are adopting technology faster and better than what we assume. The problem actually lies, as he said, that we are coming from the earlier century into this century, so we might have an apprehension. That's okay, but the faster we move, the better it is. Tata, TCS, somebody was talking about that. He was saying that if the exams come in, then what happens to education? TCS has come up with an NQT, National Qualifier Test, which we have already adopted in our college. Believe me, TCS is hiring in huge numbers, and they simply say that you clear your NQT and we are not worried whether you got a first division or did not get a first division. You need to pass our exams. So how we have done is that we have classroom teaching where the students come to the class and our faculty teaches them for NQT, and then they qualify NQT and then they are getting jobs in TCS and so many other. There are about 100 odd companies, corporates, who are taking TCS course on record. Recently we have started with L&T EduTech, and L&T EduTech is doing the same thing. And there are students who want to go for L&T EduTech, especially those who are technologically equipped. They are not worried about what scores you get in the BSc or MSc exam. As long as you get scores there, L&T is happy. So corporates have already started doing this. And if we do not understand this and if we don't upgrade ourselves, so a little while ago I was talking about that everybody will be more than happy that this particular module I have finished from Microsoft, and here is my certificate from Microsoft. If that happens, then in that case corporates are willing. So now we are gradually, it's like if we don't keep pace, then corporates are going to come forward and they are going to come up with these kind of certification programs. They've already come up. I think this is working fine. Blended learning has worked during COVID also, and even today we hear this from the students themselves that, sir, on this matter, for example, he was doing microfinance. We were teaching microfinance. So the students told us that, sir, is it not possible to get somebody who has from Bangladesh who is doing microfinance in a big way? So we immediately reached out to people in Bandhan Bank. They said we can connect this with you, and the gentleman was available from Bangladesh, and those NGOs are doing it. Now these kind of advantages are enormous. During COVID, we got our Nobel laureate sitting in New York, and he said that I am available. I will talk to your students of economics from New York, and he did that. So these kind of things are happening. We cannot forget that these advantages we have. So my simple suggestion and straightforward request is that let us do one teachers training program, faculty development program in our college in Bhawanipur. We will at least invite 3 or 4 other colleges, and I am inviting you to conduct a national faculty development program in our college straight away, and I would request you to collaborate for certifications. I think that is the first step, and we start moving, because there is no point in saying this is good and bad. This is happening. If we move faster, the better. That's all that I can say. Thank you so much.
So far as we are discussing on equity and how equity can be balanced with respect to technology. And technology, what is technology driven and which is very much helpful to our learners. Now, if we go through with the theoretical aspect, I shall not be entering into the theoretical aspects of this very discussion, as blended learning is very, very useful and very, very important for students of different segments. Students may do have many problems, family problems, they do have so far as health-wise problem, or so far as they have number of enormous problems. So from legal background, as and when we define equity, equity has a different meaning. And so far as there is a proverb in equity, he who seeks equity, he does equity. Now, equity normally, if we go through now, we are very much discussing in our Indian perspective about NEP. Now, three cardinal principles which has been brought into NEP program. One is access, equity, and quality. What has to be maintained in our education system and what we have to provide to our learners. Now, in that regard, directly, if we can, I'm not focusing on the problem, but rather solution. So far as during the online time when we were conducting examinations, many of our students were located in Northeast. And while examinations were going on, at a sudden they used to say that, sir, I can't upload my answer sheet because I don't have proper bandwidth. And I have seen panic. And then sitting at home, I don't have any solutions. I have to take permission because at a sudden, again, so far as the portal will be closed and they are not in the position to submit their answer script. They were crying like anything. Phones from parents, guardians. So just, I'm not so far as highlighting the so far as problem, but anyhow we'll have to look into the solutions. So far as from legal background, I can say that education comes under concurrent trust, right? And state government and central government both are taking important steps. Even our Prime Minister is very much keen to have a digital infrastructure, and we are in the digital era. So as and when we discuss about access, right, the government should ensure that a proper, so far as digitalization and bandwidth should be provided to all the learners throughout the country. As Sir has said, regarding that, our computer science department at our university, we are located in the remote place, and number of times we don't get proper bandwidth. Even so far as different service providers, we don't have proper so far as networking. Even till date I am telling you, if you come to my university, you can see this very situation. So what we are doing similarly in Diamond Harbour, on every Saturday, right, we are providing this so far as the digital literacy program. In one particular school we have identified, and here we are providing digital literacy program, and at the same time we are also providing it, starting it in Sundarban area. So we are also trying to develop this very aspect, so at least equitable justice should be provided to all the segment of learners. And for this, even we would like if Microsoft would collaborate, and as they are also helping many students in Andhra Pradesh and in many other areas, if we can collaborate and bring this very underprivileged students to the mainstream.
Dr. Sajid, yes, please.
Thank you, Dr. Rakesh and Professor Dilip, for providing the chance. You have done my job beautifully. Education equity means what? So education should be available everywhere, everybody, irrespective of their caste, religion, whatever it may be. And to realize this one in the megacity like in Kolkata is very difficult. I was there in Northeast for the last 6 years. I have experienced how it is very difficult to provide education to everyone. Especially the communication is not there properly. Even during the winter season, after 3:30 it becomes dark and there is no vehicles available. And we have to complete the entire session by 10 to 3:30 within 5 hours. So that time I found out that blended learning becomes a boon for us. So half of the teaching we have done in an offline mode and half of the in the online one. But there are several difficulties we face, as Dr. Rakesh has told, that the bandwidth is not sufficient. The people, those who are in Manipur, Nagaland, in part of Arunachal, I can remember during the COVID time, one student called me that I can get the net access when I will be on top of a small hill. So during the night time, it is not possible. So sir, take the class in the morning. So this type of problem students are facing. We are talking about the different edtech platform, but the basic infrastructure is not available everywhere in the India. So that is required first to provide the proper blended learning to promote the education. That's all.
Dr. Saha, thank you very much, and Dr. Bhavish Bhattacharya.
Yeah.
So, sir, for you, the question is, what are your thoughts on student-centered learning approaches and their potential to improve student outcome in higher education and make them future ready? How do you see technology supporting or hindering the implementation of student-centered learning approaches? So, the student-centric learning outcome and the role of technology.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Avinash. Absolutely, there is no second opinion on making our teaching learning process student-centric. That requirement is absolutely in place. Fortunately, my question does not fall in the domain of controversial ChatGPT thing. I was just wondering, wondering whether what will happen to our brain sometime afterwards, whether it will get degenerated and we'll lose it like our head we lost long back. So preservation of the brain is important. In what way ChatGPT will be helping that preservation? Want us to look into it. But coming to a serious part of making the teaching learning student-centric, absolutely there is no second opinion. And this has to be imbibed in our education system, and it is being done. And if you see some of the progressive universities, they have already developed their curriculum where significant component is where students analyze the content, develop their queries, and generate their own solution. Teachers are just there for primary handholding of this process. So this is being done in most of the progressive university system. It is there, and this has been increased over time. Incorporation of project-based learning. We have universities where the projects are continued from the second semester and it goes up the end, whether it is in the form of minor project or major project, but it has been done. That is a major component of the curricular credit is being given, imparted outside the classrooms, four walls of the classroom. So that is there. So student-centric learning is the order of the day, and as per me, university has to adapt to that. And sir has indicated death knell for university system, although maybe the time frame is there, we may not survive at that time, but we have an obligation to orient our university system so that the necessary correction in our academic teaching learning process is made by us so that the future of the university is protected.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, sir, after this, I would like to stop here. And now I will request Nivedita to play that demo.
So we have been talking to the education leaders and faculties across the country, and in terms of the themes for education leaders as well as faculties that we have identified in terms of challenges, some of the common themes that have emerged, and I think that's something that you guys have also touched upon. In the flipped classroom scenario, wherein there's a lot of focus, and I think our esteemed speakers were talking about faculties creating content, uploading on LMS, and sharing that as pre-read content, so that classroom discussions would be more meaningful around the concept, and the discussions could be more productive. However, faculties do spend a lot of time in navigating through technologies and a little less time in actual teaching to make the learning outcomes better for the students. So how do we navigate that, and how do we solve for it? Student engagement again has been brought up in this conversation and across the board as well. That how do we ensure that students are engaging with content, how are they grasping the content or not, and how do we solve for that. And then when it comes to data, there's a lot of data that is being created, collated, but it's available in multiple pockets. And how do we use that data that is consolidated, that is insightful and is presented in a manner that is consumable. And this can easily be done with the help of technology. When it comes to flipped classroom, multiple technologies are available from the same provider like Microsoft that can be leveraged to make the teaching and learning outcomes better. Just a quick one here. So this is how it can easily be done. There's OneNote and Teams to share content. Of course, Pilot has been brought up again. We'll see a quick demo a little later. And accessibility in terms of language is an important piece. So this is also something that we'll look into. Student engagement, Teams Insight. So there's a special edition of Teams that has been created specially for education. So we'll look into that and how it can provide insights on student engagement, on their progress, and how that can make the lives of faculties a little easier, so that content creation is relatively simpler, as well as getting insights on student performance, etc. is taken care of. And Teams is, I think Nivedita has spoken about it, that it seamlessly integrates with multiple learning platforms, including Canva, that many of you are using. Here's a quick demo on Microsoft Teams for education. So if you look at it, this is the interface of it, and this is specially for education. If you look at the icons on the left hand side, so they're specifically relevant for the education segment. There are assignments, there are insights. So here's a quick demo on Microsoft Teams for education and how you could leverage insights aspect of it to understand students' progress, their engagement, and so on. So this is a view of assignments you can see for a particular class, the assignments that were given, and a quick preview of, on the completion rate. Then when you get into insights, for example, here you would see insights for various classes or subjects. Here you see an all-up view for a particular class, all subjects, the digital engagement level, attendance rate, and so on. And then we can further dive deeper into various subjects and the performance by student, by assignments. So here we have gotten into one of the classes. You see an all-up view, the assignments that were given to the students, how the students fared on various aspects of the assignments, for example, reading comprehension, vocabulary, etc. And then we get further granular into performance by student, by assignment. Another quick one, I think accessibility and also equity of education has been elaborated upon quite a bit in today's session. It's one of the mandates of NEP as well. So one of the aspects that technology does bring in to make education equitable and take it to the grassroots level is through our translation services infused into Microsoft Teams, wherein students can access content disseminated via Teams in their regional languages, including Bengali. So it is available in Bengali as well. So quick one on this one. So whatever you type in with the translation services, here you would see an example in Kannada, but it's available in multiple regional languages. So students can learn at their own pace in a language that they're comfortable in.
Moving to this, I would like to thanks to Microsoft and Mint to organize this amazing, exciting event and panel discussion on a very contemporary and relevant topic. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.